So, today we are continuing what we were doing last stream. Unfortunately, yesterday I wasn't able to do the stream as promised. But today we can continue our Stackable Cliffs, and we will be able to at least prime them and try to see if they will be at least dry to start the painting phase. We will probably do some flocking in the meantime, so we have some time to burn due to the primer needed to. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to do everything. But yes, the primer needs to dry, so this maybe will be enough time to do some. So the stream just stopped a bit, so we'll need to keep on painting. We will need to do more primer with some PVA glue. But first I'll need to try and open this jar that is really stuck. Let's see if the big knife can do anything about it. Let's hope the sound is a little bit better today, because I think the stream is having a bit of some difficulties. And we are recording as well, so let's hope everything can be done. We need to make a little bit of paint, and I'll need to start recording also with my phone, so that we have some more footage. Unfortunately, my network is not as good as we needed it to be, but we'll try to do something with it. Today we have a little bit more space to work with. So first we need a little PVA. We are in need of a refill right here. I have to find my PVA tub. It's somewhere around here. A little bit of black paint, too much, and a tiny droplet of water. I think this might be enough. And let's see if we are still doing anything. Unfortunately, we are not. Mix. And let's start to prime the back side of this phone. But first, I think I will have to do some more texturing just to make sure that we have enough right here. So I just need to put this aside for a little bit. And pull our aluminium foil to make a little bit of some indentations right here. Yeah, this is enough, at least for this style. And we will need a bigger brush, maybe the one that we used last time. Doesn't matter if it's a bit wet still. Just like not be completely painted, but it's not being start painting everything. The majority of the tiles that we did last time, they were all just wasting so much paper. The majority of the tiles that we did last time were in the factory side, I think. Or no, these are both in the factory side. So let's take this off. Let's try to not forget that we have a new camera over here, that it's not streaming, it's just collecting some footage. So the primer on this one is done. Let's see if some parts need a little bit of touch from the previous prime that we did, like these little bits that we can see that are a bit lighter, and we can try to cover them a bit. You can already see the stone textures that we will be able to create from all this. So this one is done, and let's just put it aside and start on the next one. I leave the small ones to the end. So let's continue. First, some indentations created by an aluminium foil ball, as you all know. The bit rate today is a bit better than last time, and we are being able to maintain connection for the majority of time. Let's hope it's not continuously going down. And now just check out from little blue spots. created so many good textures. If my paint brush is not able to pick them all on in a few passes, that means that we have a lot of different textures here that are going to be picked later on with all the grays and browns and greens that we're going to try to put here. And again, once more. See, this one has a lot more, because this is pink foam. The type of texture that we were able to get, it's a bit different, but at the same time we can see that it's going to bring great results. But there are lots of other tiny little bits that couldn't be painted on the first pass. Maybe we need to put a little bit more water than we put last time on this concoction, because if we are not able to pick to go to every little nook and cranny, as Black Magic Craft would say, the end result will show foam, and that is not something that we like in our builds. Raw foam, a bit ugly, but same time this is just the first painting phase. We will pass through some other steps that can surely cover our little mistakes. So, next one, it's a green foam one. When I thought of doing this double-sided cliffs, I was thinking about doing some cracks on the rocks, buildings on top that would not be with a hole underneath. still have some technical difficulties with the network not cooperating with our stream. I'm still trying to solve that one. My computer doesn't have an entry port for an internet cable, unfortunately. So wireless will have to do. Anyway, we are trying to bring the router even closer than it is right now. Right now it's about 4 meters away with a wall in between. So maybe we'll be able to bring it a bit closer. And let's get in there. I hope the sound today is a little bit themselves as last time. So, back again, finally. It's constantly soft. I'm terribly sorry for that. We really need to do something about it. So, painting the top part. Yet again, this is just a primer phase. This primer will get the foam some rigidity and will work in our favor with the way that we are going to paint them. So we will always have some darker spots that will come from this passage right here. This part right here that we are doing right now. And it's always good to have some more rigid foam. It will endure a lot better. And after we use some flocking on it too, on the green side of it, possibly it will create a stronger surface also because of all the glue that we are going to put on it, or the flocking, and the flocking will probably be the one that we are doing today, and it will be some sawdust flocking, so it's easier to make, it's cheap. I like to do it with some wood pellets, specifically the ones that are sold for animal cages, for rabbits, guinea pigs and all that. And it has some good results. Of course, it is sawdust, so it's a material that is organic, and with time and some humidity, because we are using some PVA, it will come off a little bit, but if we fix it real good with some PVA, some watered down PVA, it will probably be okay. another one done right here. Just found a little bit of foam showing up. It's not our objective. But this task is much faster than the first one. Now we are doing just some touch, and it's obviously way faster. Every nook and cranny, every nook and cranny. This will do great rock. Can't wait to start to put some color on it, see how it will really going to become. I think I might paint the rock first, and only after the rock I will put some brown and some dirt on the other side. Will be like Dory. Just keep painting, just keep painting, just keep painting, painting, painting. Already feel my fingers all dirty. At least this time, because we have the confuser on this side instead of right in front of me, we won't splash it with lots of tiny droplets of paint. This will probably dry faster. Let's hope that we can save all this time if we plan our builds. That's why I'm doing this first. This way it will be faster for them to dry. Faster no, but because I have other things to do right here, I can do this one first, and then while I'm doing everything else, the paint might dry enough for me to start painting. And I don't know, let's see how the stream goes and how much we can do today. As I said last time, I'm not in a hurry. I want to craft and just to enjoy the process. So I do not mind if we'll have to do this in more sessions. And now we'll do the top part. And We haven't even started. It hasn't even been 30 minutes and we are already halfway there. Next contestant. Get this. So many little bits of green showing up that we can cover real quickly. Now that everything is black, they can pop right on our side. Top part is just now this paint might not grab the foam as we want it to, because in an ideal situation this would be completely black, but we can always see all these marks from the paintbrush. I don't know if we can capture, the camera can capture enough, but all these marks left from the brush are not a problem for me because PVA is there, and it's the PVA that is sealing all the foam so that when we paint it again, all the paint will grab really good. Hello. Is the sound good? Is everything good with the sound? Is the music too loud, Shad? Thank you so much for the feedback. So at the moment, we are trying to cover every little spot that we missed last time. Try to cover all the foam that's right here. Obviously, some of the steps that we are going to do in the future, from paintings to washing it, might cover everything that we missed initially, but it's always good to get not a blank canvas, but everything will be just clean enough so that we can pick every color in the same way in the beginning and then work from it backside. We are almost done with the big ones, just 2 big ones to go and then the small ones. And we are done with this part. At least we are not worried about messing anything else with other colors. But painting some rocks is pretty forgiving, not unforgiving, pretty forgiving, because we can mess up and just put some more grays and some more browns on top of it. It will always come good. Nature is not perfect, nature is not completely gray, so a little variance is always good to have on some natural elements. It's like grass, it's not a completely manicured lawn. It's okay if you want the aesthetic of the board to completely look like a golf cart, but at the same time, if we want some realism, we'll have to just accept that nature is not completely perfect. That's why we did not carve these rocks as I usually would do with an X-Acto knife and just carving some bits and taking off, leaving really straight edges. And I think that like this we will have some better results. Let's see, I've never tried it, but I can already see how it's going to be. I think we already listened to this song again. I don't believe so. Let's see, this one. Okay, this one is a bit different. And I'll change it up a little bit. Now we already have a bit of a playlist. We already have a bit of a playlist, so if we are repeating the music too often, so, are we back again? Yes, we are back again. We will definitely need to correct this connection. I tried to lower the bips from the transmission. I don't know if this is going to do anything good, but let's hope so. The transmission is a little bit smoother. Last time I was transmitting in a bigger resolution than I should. Now I have lowered the resolution of the transmission and at the same time increased the bip count. But it seems that our internet is not strong enough to do it. Just keep painting, just keep painting. It seems to be a bit more fluid right now, but at the same time we have a warning that not enough feed is coming, so I'm expecting it to break at any moment, but let's keep our fingers crossed so that the connection is maintained. And this is the last big one. As we did in the other ones, first we are going to try to see every bit of foam that is still showing up right here on the rock side. Try to pick every nook and cranny, see from different angles, from the top and the bottom. You must not forget that all these tiles will be double-sided. So you might think that, oh, but it's underneath, no one's going to see it. No. We can turn it around and everyone will see it. So let's just try to hit them all. And prevent everything like that to happen from happening. This is the piece that we started last time, the one that started the first stream. So we'll just keep on painting them. We are still missing the smaller ones, so those are faster, definitely. Okay, oh, I found a little pink spot. So after this one, only the smaller ones will have to be primed. And because we are just doing the top face and some corrections, everything will be enough to paint all the parts. We will not need to make some more paint. Yeah, about 45 minutes and we are probably going to be finishing with this a lot faster than we thought. This one is done. Let's just see what I did there. And now we'll just need I think the feed is a bit better right now. It's not breaking up as often as it was. These are way faster than the big ones, as you can imagine. And they still need some touch up to do, but it's nearly not as much as the bigger ones. We still need to have a bit of attention about the splashes. I just got some on my clothes. That's okay. It's not the biggest deal in the world. So these smaller ones will be the way that I can break a bit the form. If every cliff is exactly the same time, it will look too modular, and it's something that is going to look too modular, but this way I think I can try to have some eye candy, some way that the spectator can see different heights and can at the same time use to climb to the next level. These cliffs have a certain height, and that height can be represented in-game. So for those that really like to go to the rules and what you see in the table is exactly 5 feet is 5 feet, 1 inch is 5 feet, so if you see 1 inch on the table, it means it's 5 feet, as in length or in height. So I do like to have another approach and just tell the players if they can reach it or not, or they can climb it easily or not, or if they need some climbing tools or some. There's a little spot that needed. Two more to go, almost there. This one still has a little bit right there that I really wanted it to be painted. Dropped a little bit of paint inside. It's okay. And now the top part. This time nothing will be glued to the table because we already painted that side. And we can already see that all these jagged edges from the rock side are much harder than before. And now for the last part. We're almost there. Let's paint just a little bit more right here. And now the top part. And we are done with this priming. Now, this will be the messy part. Let's make some flocking. Okay, so to make some flock, we will need some things. So, first thing, let me pick a good box for it. So, I think this is going to be a good one. I'm going to save these ones right over here. We'll need some boxes. We'll probably need a sieve, but the star of the show, as I said before, some pellets. For this size, for the quantity I want to make, I don't know, I'll try to get some 2 big hands. I don't know, just for the fun of it, let's just put a little bit more. So, because there's too much water in it, there's absolutely no problem. And now we will have to pick some paints. Let's try and pick some. And this lighter one. So I think I'll mix probably still already starting to crumble a bit. And this is all going to swell up. After this I will definitely need to go wash my hands. So all this is starting to swell up a bit. We can throw in a little bit more water, because as I said, we don't need much pellets or water, but we'll always need a little bit more water than we think. So while this is all absorbing, I'll just spread some green paint on there, and I think a little bit of brown too, just for luck. We will see how it goes, and then first I'll try to use a stick or something like that to mix everything, but then I think I'll have to use my hands. So let's just go for it. And now we will start. Okay, so I think this is getting a little bit brighter than I thought, but still need to mix it up. Still need to make sure it doesn't get too white. I do not want some cartoonish grass. So right now I'm trying to break up every lumps I find from the pellets. They will already be wet enough to crumble a bit, but every little part that we see, we can always try to break them up, because the color of the sawdust will also matter, not just the color of the pigment that you add or the paint that you add. So we always have to count with that yellow right there. That will put everything a bit lighter than we were thinking. So this is a bit darker than that. I would love to have more of this color right now. I think I have a darker green right here also. Yes. I do not think that this darker green is full. We can try to use it at least a little bit. Yes, it's on its way to the grave. What we're trying to get. As I was saying, different sizes of sawdust. So because they are in the pellets and the pellets are not completely regular, we'll have to sieve it all down once it's dried, and for that we'll really need for it to dry. So only in the next stream we'll be able to finish all this grass that we are trying to do right now. But for now we can mix it all up, try to get a good color. As you see, 3 hands, 2.5 hands, it's a lot of flock that we can do from that. So now we just need to guarantee that everything is mixed properly. There will be paint on our hands also, so this one, let's see. So this helps to scrape a little bit your hands, because a lot of paint will get in there and not be in the flock. That is what we are trying to do. Look at all this paint that is coming out mixed with some flock that is not mixing properly with the rest of the batch, just sitting here on my hands. So let's try and use every little bit of it, because we do not have as much green paint as we wanted to. A little bit of brown was still here, even after all the mixing that we did. And now we will keep mixing it. See if we find any more of that yellow popping up, just like right here. There's a little bit of it right here. So let's try to keep smashing all this down. At this point the majority of the lumps will start to get really soft. If you put a lot of water, just add a little bit more of sawdust before you put the ink, but you can always add it. A good flock doesn't have just one color, in my opinion. You can do some blends for specific types. If you want some darker colors, you can probably do some 2 or 3 or 4 different types of a dark green, for example, and mix it all up. It will all get one shade, but after you seal it up, because we are diluting some PVA, the colors can mix up right on the place that we are applying them. They will bleed onto each other, and you can blend it all in just one batch and use all at the same time. I do prefer to have them separate and to use it exactly where I want them, and with that I can create different textures no, but different types of ways to look at the board and to see darker spots and lighter spots, give it a bigger realism. Piece of my foam in the wall just separated a little bit. Let's just try to keep it in there for the duration of the stream at least. A little bit more yellow right here. And there's still at least one person right here, so I hope I'm not being a bit boring. I'm trying to have things to say about at least about what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to always explain the process, explain what I'm doing in the process, and try to give some tips of what I've learned through the time that I've been crafting. But I will always find some more tips that I didn't know about. So this will probably get me one jar similar to this one, with about a bit more of fine flock that this one has. So that's what I'm expecting from this batch, because a lot of this is too big to do the flock that I want to do with it. We can always save it to do some coarser flock, some flock that is, you know, on the bigger side of things, but I do enjoy the finer ones because I can add textures with different materials and not just use what I'm seeing in one material. I can use some bark, for example, some crushed bark. I can use some rocks. I can even use some foam to create some more ruggedness in the terrain. I do not need the majority of this flock, because the majority of what we are doing now will be bigger. But then we'll need to sieve it at least once or twice so that we can get that that part, that finer dust that we are looking for. So now we are done right here, and we will need to dry it. I will just wash my hands so that we can continue the process, and I'll be back really soon. So we're back. Now, let me just try to put this all where it belongs. The hardest part for me is to maintain all this environment, keep it clean and organized. It's always a challenge for me. I always like to leave everything spread it around a little bit, but let's try not to do that. Next. Let's put this aside for a little bit, and we will need, let's see if I can find it. So now I'm trying to connect my furnace. I have a small cooking furnace right here that I'm going to show it on stream, but I'm going to dry it right here so that we can speed up the process a little bit. As you may see, this has already seen some flock here. Last time I did blue. Let's just give it a few passes. clean as much as possible from the last batch. So now we will try to spread all this. You can always even put these parts that fell down a bit. So we can try to spread it all down right here. As you can see, there's always a little bit of yellow showing from the wood. That's a sign that I probably should have mixed a little longer, but there's no problem. Try to get everything out and use the majority of it. Break it up a little bit, this yellow lamp, so that the color can bleed a bit into it. Now let's just spread it around. Okay, right here is still too deep. Let's just try to come right here to the border, not waste any space. Try not to press it down too much to see if every water bit can live, if possible, so that this can dry a bit faster. Okay, so the trick to it is, I do like to use it on at least 100 degrees, so that it at the same time can kill any bacteria or anything that might be on the flock. And it will also not burn it completely if we forget about it in the furnace. And now we will probably be listening to this tick 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 for the rest of the stream. Unfortunately, the furnace needs to be right here near me. It's the only outlet that I have available. And we can put this aside. So, next task. Table a little bit. That's the big problem about working with flocking. With flock is it's a big mess. Every time you need to make it, it's a big mess, or use it. Especially when it's dry and it's a fine dust. Really can be a pain to work, but so next we need to do a small base for a tree, just like this one. So as you can see, this has a foam base and can stand completely alone. This tree is not my favorite one, so I'm doing the same to another tree I got right here. So first of all, we will cut this wire out. Okay, so now we have a tree. Just a tree. This can go away. And now I have a little bit of foam right here. And I do think I will need my hot wire cutter. First of all, I need something to write. No, I really don't want that. Just the foam cutter. So, let's go. It's not easy to take it out right now. I do not have as much space as I wanted to, but let's keep going. Here it is. Okay. Okay, so now we are ready, and it's really going to be really simple. Just try to keep the triangle a bit more natural. I'm going to be doing a bit of an entrance right here, and we're done. Okay, this is enough so that you can do something around like this. And we can break it apart. I don't know, maybe okay, maybe 1.5 centimeters will be enough. Okay. We are done with it. And this can be saved again for later. This on top of this little box so that it helps me a little bit. doing it like this, trying to keep it to the center. So I'm going on at approximately 45-degree angle, maybe a little bit sharper. I'm just going to go around every border. I like to put my blade longer, but it's always a risk that she comes out in direction to my finger, so let's just be careful about it. And let's see if it's going to or not. A new blade is always good for it. I'll have to be working on the table just to be safer, to be able to fix the foam a little bit better. So this is a bit what we are looking for. I'll just do this on the top also, and now we'll have a good angle to start to sand a little bit. This is going to the garbage. And now just a little bit of sanding paper and a mask. I'll have to put on the mask first. Okay. So we really need a mask for this part, because if we are not using a mask, this dust is really dangerous for our lungs, and I really do not want to have a lung disease. And now I'm going to sand everything so it gets a good smooth finish without all these lines from the cut. But I'm not going to be so focused about keeping it completely straight and completely sanded down, because obviously this is also going to have a little bit of flock on it, and just rounding a bit is enough, because if we go too hard with the sanding paper, it will start to crumble and the foam will not look good. So light passes, just like if you were cleaning it with a paper or something. Okay, so this is probably enough. Again, using the paintbrush to get it all the way from here. So now I'll have to be with the mask for a little bit, because the dust is still circulating on the air. I'll just check really quick on this camera right here if we are still rolling, and yes, we are. Let's hope the image is alright. Now this can go away for here, and we can keep going on. So I'll use another tool right now, and it's a hot wire handheld cutter, and I'm just using it to make a small hole to put the tree. I can use an X-Acto knife, but I would really like to have a controlled hole, and with this tool I can change the bit from the cutting part to a bit similar to a soldering iron, And this way I can do a really fast and controlled hole in the center to place the tree with some hot glue. So at this point I'm also starting to heat up my glue gun so that I can use it in the right moment. I'll have to change the plugs right here. Okay, so the glue gun is getting hot. And now we can just turn it on and wait for it to start. This point, this tiny little point, is really good to do this kind of work because it can be precise, but we have to be careful because it will heat up real fast. So already starting to heat up a little bit. Now it's just a question of making the hole a little bit bigger for the tree to come into and to be fit, and a little bit deeper. I'm trying not to go all the way through, but going deep enough for the tree to have something to hold on to. Okay, I think we get there. We got there, I think, yes. So this is good. You can put this aside and probably check it out. If yes, perfect size, perfect fit. Now let's just try to look at the position. I do feel that the hole should have been more in the center. You can do that and fill everything with hot glue afterwards. This is always going to have some flock on it, so for me there's no problem if there's a hole right there. Okay, we have two holes, no problems right there. Is our glue gun ready? Yes, it is. So let's squirt a bit of glue inside and just place it. Let's see if it can become straight on its own. Is it straight? Yes, I think it is. Now I just need to wait for the glue to cool down a little bit, and I think it's enough. And now we're going to fill all these little spots right here. Because this glue gun is of high temperature, I really need to put it on and then turn it off and then turn it on again, because the glue will be too hot to handle and it will even melt the foam a little bit, so that's what I'm trying to avoid. And if I can find a little bit of parchment paper, that would be really good, but unfortunately I do not have right now. But there's no problem. So I'll be taking my mask off. Finally, I do know that that dust that we talked about earlier is still on the air, but I really need to have a breather. if anyone knows the best way to get this sound foam, I just put it up and it's already falling down. I'm already seeing what's going to happen with it. So if anyone knows some technique I might be able to use, just hit me up on some comments. Telling me what should I do about it. Hours already. So now that we finished our third task, let's pick everything and try to organize our space, of course. If everything is spread around, it's not the best situation for someone who doesn't have as much space as it should. So let's just grab everything and put everything in its rightful spot. No, it is not. We still need to wait a little bit. So what can we do to make it a bit better for us to work on? Okay, we are still on, or are we not on? Okay, we're on. So, we have a dice tower over here. It's made out of a Pringles can. I just put it a little ramp down there that comes to this door. It will work something like this. Let me get some dice out. Let's take a d20 for example. And it's as easier as, oh, it's not that easy as it seems. And it comes out a 4. Let's see, how is my internet connection? 18? Oh, I wish. 15 would be good. Yes, it's probably an 8. It's probably an 8. But yes, what we are doing here is gluing half bricks around with some hot glue. I just need to see if I can find the bricks that I have. I think I have a box of bricks around here somewhere. I think it's somewhere around here. Oh yes, it is. And I do think they are already cut to size because the structure is rounded. I do prefer to have my bricks cut in half this way up around. If they are not cut, we will do it pretty easily. I do not think that they are cut down to size. Okay, so where's my X-Acto knife? Right over here. So let's just throw some bricks on the table, cut them in half. We do not need that many because each brick will be half brick, so we'll have double the bricks we started with. And I really do not care about the differences in thickness or the shape, because this will give me a lot of good textures. Right here, this tower does not have foam rock. This rock is made from plaster. I do not use some generic molds. I make my rocks with some aluminium foil for molds, and it has worked pretty well till now. I do think I just need to improve my leopard spotting technique. This way I can have some natural colors on the rock, and last time I tried it did not go as well as I wanted to. So small bricks, big bricks, everything counts. I just do not want some triangulars or rough shaped ones, because that I can do after when I'm gluing them. It's a bit of a tedious job, I do know that, but the results are really good and easier to do than full bricks on a curved surface. That is not always the best situation. These bricks are also not completely straight on the tower walls, so as you can see there are lots of holes, because I will put some light plaster on top of it with really watered down, and that way I can do the parts between the rocks to get a bit whiter. That will give a really good effect, and all the colors from the stone can pop up from the mortar. And it's a bit more realistic, as we can see in some real castle walls. I do know that the entrance that I did there is not realistic, but come on, it's a fantasy game. It's like that. I like realistic stuff, but at the same time I do also understand that this is made for fantasy wargaming or for fantasy RPGs, so the fact that I can do some realism but at the same time having that forgiveness of the fantasy setting is also really good. So this is, as you can see, really boring. We have to do it one by one. Of course, if I wanted to do bricks this size already, I could just cut some strips of bricks with the appropriate size, and I wouldn't have to be here cutting them one by one in half. But I already had these bricks, so I'm going with them. I do not need to fabricate more bricks just to do a simple task of continuing like 5 rows of bricks that we can do pretty fast, I think. Let's just hope it's not fast enough so that the primer on our main subject of the night, our Stackable Cliffs, can dry properly so that we can start painting. Let's see if we will start painting today or if we'll leave that for the next live stream. Because I really do not know how long I'm going to be here. If I'm doing the 3.5 hours as I did last time, or if I'm going to be here longer, or for a shorter period. So, as I said previously, let's just enjoy it for now. Enjoy the process. Not think about that too much, and create some cool things. I do think that I'm going to change the sound because I'm getting a bit... Thank you for the hearts! But yes, I'm changing the sound a bit. Let's see what we have here. Okay. These ones are probably the sounds that we listened to last time, but now they are on a list that I know that is not going to repeat them. And we still have a bit. This is a much more calm song. I do like to craft it with these kinds of soundtracks. I'm really glad that my computer can handling streaming and recording at the same time. Because this way I do not have to download the video from YouTube to have my own footage, and it will not lose all the quality while trying to edit some of the videos that I'm thinking about doing. The ones that I'm thinking right now are the Stackable Cliffs, if I have some good footage from there. Homemade Floking, what we were doing just a moment ago. The stream is a bit more fluid than last time, for what I can see, but it's still stopping a lot. unfortunately is still stopping a lot. Oh, this one was a close one to my finger, but okay. This is a fresh blade, so I do not have to do much strength while cutting. So all these repetitive tasks that can be a little daunting, but let's see. Okay, this one is appropriate size. This one can be cut down a little bit. So after this, I'm going to check on the flock that is still on the furnace, heating up to 100 degrees so that it can dry a bit faster. I do not like to have wet flock around because it can create a bit of a mold if you live on a humid area. Where I live is not that humid, but I really do not want it. So it can't come in here. Just because of all the things that are lying around. Dust, flockings, foam, toxic fumes, foam dust, actual dust. It's not the best environment for an animal with a respiratory problem. So, this is more than enough to do what we need. Just need to check on the sound. Okay, it's a little bit better right now, at least for me, because my headphones are too loud right now. And if I cannot listen to me speaking, I don't know if I'm making too much noise. So, let's check on the floor. Look at this beauty. So, let's mix it up a bit. The feed is going. So at this stage the flock is still not dry enough. It's hot, but not hot enough that I would be burned, but it's a lot drier. Let's just mix it up and try to take some of the edges that is already dry and put it up on the middle and try to rotate it a bit. So that this can all dry a lot faster. mixing so that we can evaporate everything a bit faster. Try not to waste as I just did right here. It's 100 degrees, so the flock will not burn inside the furnace. There will not be flames, don't worry. Things to not put in a furnace ever. Super glue. Do not put super glue in the furnace. It will turn into cyanide gas and it's really toxic. And all the fumes are going to be picked up by our nose and you would not want to be breathing cyanide. I'm assuring you right now that it's not the thing that you should be doing. Okay, I like to mix it up a bit, try to bring a bit that was down there to the top part, try to fluff it up a bit, that all the water can leave. Try to leave it just fluffy. I can pick up this right now because I know it's not going to be usable. And now back in the furnace. Okay, so hot glue. As I said earlier, this hot glue gun is really hot, gets a really hot temperature, and we really have to be aware of that because foam can melt and burning your fingers with hot glue is just something that happens really fast, and it's something that we have to have some attention about it. Just waiting for the glue to melt a little bit, to heat up a little bit. Okay. So, what I like to do with it is just spread some bricks around and just make a line, not a big one, and just start gluing bricks. Always remembering to have the right spaces between the bricks and really not having any attention about the color of the foam or anything like that. All the wisps from the hot glue can be melted down with a quick pass with the lighter afterwards, and all these wisps that are really annoying will disappear in no time. And it's as easy as that. I put some skewers inside so that the dice can bounce a bit. It's something that is good for the player also because he can listen to the dice banging around and he knows that the roll will be good, or at least random, not fake. So the The real problem here is trying to work with the glue drying time and try to fit everything nicely enough. But it's really fast. I'm already finishing my first row. Now I just need to find a smaller one to finish to cap it off faster if I can, and another row done. I don't mind about all the spaces because they are going to be filled up with a little bit of plaster to simulate some mortar and to bring it all a bit similar to the rock face. So I'll have to be a little more careful with washes and all that part. But for the bricks, it's as easier as this. Just gluing one row at a time with half bricks. And it will be much easier to wrap around. Much easier. We need to get rid of the wisps on our hands because those are really not pleasant. As I said earlier, have an eye on the temperature of the gun so that it doesn't heat up too much and melt the foam. At the moment is acceptable. But it's starting to heat up too much, so I took it off right now. And now I'm just going to work with the residual heat that is still on the glue gun. Okay. Now I'm trying to eye gauge it a little bit so that the distance between this last row and the top is almost the same. Tower. I really do not like when towers have bricks all over the place. And let's finish it. And yes, it's almost everything at the same height. Not perfect, but no one needs perfect in tabletop. One more row, let's go. Spot. So I think I will do some okay. Stream just stopped again for a minute. And again. And we have another viewer. Greetings. At the moment we are doing a dice tower. At the moment we are completing a dice tower, just putting some bricks on it with hot glue. We separated the bricks in half so that they are a bit smaller and easier to wrap around. And we're just going with the flow. If I need a smaller bit, I just rip it up to give it different textures and not having to use the blade every time. But these wisps from the hot glue are what grinds my gears. So after this one, I think one more row and we will be done with the bricks, and we can start the mortar phase, I think. Hope you are all enjoying the stream so far. I'm really sorry for all the bad connections and the breakups from the internet. I hope you all are enjoying as much as I am. And hopefully after all this, after putting these bricks, maybe our stackable cliffs are dried enough for us to work with. So many wisps. Almost done with this last row. Let me see if we can. Are really handy, and just drop it and you will leave. So let's put everything back here because we are not doing bricks anymore, and let's use a lighter to melt these little wisps really fast so that we don't need to worry about them anymore. Do have a lighter right here, so we just need to do this. If you melt a little bit of the foam, there's no problem. It's a tower. It has seen battle or maybe a lot of time, so there's no worry in some different stones. And every wisp is really done. So now let's see how our flock is going. So this is our flock. Sawdust flock, used with a little bit of acrylic inks. This might be a little too hot, so let's use the paintbrush to keep mixing it all up so that all the water can evaporate as faster as we can. After this step, after everything is completely dried out, we can sieve it, and after the size is what we pretend, it's ready to use. It's as simple as painting some sawdust and sieving it down, but it can be used to give other textures to your boards and to your dioramas. different textures and different sizes of flock that can simulate different things and give good effects. Eye candy, as I said. And with this you can do not just grass, but trees, just like the ones I showed previously. Bushes, mosses. You can mix this flock with a bit of PVA and do like a paste, and apply that paste on some roofs and some tree bark, and simulate a bit of a moss growth, always with different colors. So as I said, this much might give me a little bit more than I have right here, so like to here, because everything right now is not sieved, and I only like to save the fine dust that you can see right here. Is really fine dust that can be applied really easy to make good scatter. This is a mix, as you can see. It has some browns and some greens, and a mix like this can give really good textures. As you can see, it's a different color from the one that I had right here. I do not mind mixing a little bit of it. So as you can see, the colors are different, and this is what I'm looking for, having different kinds of color on flocks to create different situations and can give a better perspective to the viewer. Okay, this is not hot anymore. I'm just heating it up a little bit over 100 degrees, and it's just to heat it up and try to take all the water from it. We started by putting everything with a little bit of water and let the sawdust soak up the water a bit. And after that, we painted it. We mixed it all up with a bit of acrylic paint, some green and a bit of brown. And this, for example, is some of the results that you might achieve. I do not like how this is going because it's a little too much. I need to break it up a little bit and use different flocks because the bottom side is still not flocked up properly. But you can get some results like this that can have a bit more color, a bit of yellows on the top and a bit of darker tones on the underside. But for me, this tree looks too much like a broccoli. It's too broccoli style. I'm trying to achieve a different feeling with this tree, for example, with different lumps, but at the same time the color is not there yet, and this top part got too heavy with the flock that I put, so I need to break it out a little bit. I might show it. So I need to break it up a little bit and then reflock it on top, so that all this flock that came here can get a bit looser and fall out. And after that we'll do a reflock so that the tree can be a little prettier afterwards. So now we made a mess again, and we still need to clean it all up. So let's check out our cliffs. Are they dry? Unfortunately, they are not dry. Still not dry. So we can do other things. For example, I was talking about different ways to cover this is something. This is the remains from the dirt that I got and sieved. All the dirt. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, I think I don't have it anymore, but I got some vase dirt for plants, for house plants, and after using a sieve, all these big pieces are really good to create some forest cover, something to catch an eye on, something to simulate rocks. For example, if you glue this to a board and paint it gray, they look like good rubble and good rocks. And a little bit can have a big result. And you have in here like dust from old roots and real rocks and bits of wood and bark that were in the middle of the dirt, and of course dirt. Let's see if I am not good. And put it all back. And let's hope all fits. Okay, it will fit. Of course it will fit. This does not need the sheet of paper right now. What I will need to do is try to do some type of ready base mix where I have a bit of dirt, a little bit of flocking, a little bit of small rocks, and with the right color, with no paint needed on there. And it's always a good thing to sprinkle around some cliffs, for example, what we are doing right now. Some mountains, some rock faces, they always have some crumble down rocks on the bottom, and it's always good to put some base ready mix on there, and it says always give me good results for sure. But yes, I really do have other types of covering. So I use flockings, sawdust flockings, and I have different colors for them. I have another green right here. I do have some yellow, some reds, some blue, and I do have this dust right here that I do not recommend because it's foam flock, but it's not the foam flock that one might encounter in gaming situations. This is from floral foam and is really toxic. The dust is really bad for your lungs, so if you work with it wet. Just soak it in some water for 24 hours and work after that with it. But I collected this dust and tried to use it on some flock, but the color is not what I was expecting. It's good to mix with other flocks because foam will absorb the PVA and will give it a good bond to the board, but at the same time the color is not there. So I'll put this aside. Let me see what I have more here. More sawdust flock of another type of green. So right now this is what we have. This is mainly to do flowers, but I'll explain them later because they are with static grass, and I'll show you some examples also. Or I don't know if I can show them right now because my microphone is on top of them, but we'll get there. So that's what I have in regards of flocking with sawdust. That's why we are making some more. Now, for more covering mediums, I like to use different kinds. Here we have plain dirt that I've collected from a field and sieved sometimes to get this fine powder. It's really fine powder that can give good ground cover. Then I also use this fine dust right here that is for tiles. Some tile grout sieved down. This tile grout was really good because I got a lot of it for really cheap. Just had to wait for it to dry because the tile grout comes a little bit humid, but after it dried I could sieve it down and get a lot of that fine powder, and at the same time lots of aggregate that I use as small rocks and pebbles right here. And this was all that I got from one bag of tile grout. This will give me stones for years to come. A little sprinkle of this will have tiny stones, bigger stones, and lots of good cover for the terrain. Some coarser sand, as you can see right here. Some coarser sand, completely different from the fine dust that came with it. So I like to mix it up, some dirt, some tile grout, and then we have some in between. This was what was in between the dust and the rocks, and it's like a a beach sand that, as you can see, has bigger grains than this and smaller grains than this. It's an in between, so it's also good. We have what I've just shown you, sieved down parts from potting earth for plants, and right here some beach sand and some sieved out beach sand. It's the same beach sand, but I used a sieve and it got really fine to do. Oh, let's not put everything everywhere. So after this, for last, I got some pigments like this sienna ochre one and a little bit of beige, and I also have, let me see if I can find it, but yes, they're here. I also have some browns that are also really good to mix with the tile grout, and with this tile grout we'll get different colors and we can mix it up a bit, just like we do with the grasses, with the the flocking for simulation of grass. We can always use darker tones for shadier areas and lighter tones for the areas that we want to highlight. So this is ground cover. And in the end, we also have static grass. And static grass is a really cool thing. The thing is, I have never bought... Oh, a little bit of flocking. This was the last batch that I did. And this is what we are trying to do today. Just get this fine powder that will give great cover and with good colors. So, static grass, that's what we are talking about. Let me see if you can see this. So, static grass are some fibers of polyester, like this. Like little tiny hairs that will be all sticked up with the help of some static electricity. I'll give you an example. Just let me take one from here. So, for example, as you can see, all the grass is up and there's a difference between the dirt and the grasses. This is the effects that we can have with static grass. So, I've never bought static grass ever. I've always made my own. I started by doing it with some twine, some time that I would unravel and try to get the small fibers and paint them, but twine is too thick to do good grass and will not stand up that good with static electricity. This is my homemade static grass applicator, and as you can imagine, it's not the strongest one, so it would not work that well with string, other things that have polyester fiber. Wigs. So I just use some wigs that I buy around some holidays, and I try to have the blonde ones right here, and I'll paint it and then cut it. I'll paint it and then afterwards cut it, and using a guillotine to cut paper, and I can achieve different lengths. For example, this is about 1 centimeter, but this is a smaller type, about 4 to 5 millimeters. That is the size that I use the most. And just like any other flock, we can achieve different colors and mix them all together to get some fine covering. For example, this is a mix that I have with some lighter green, darker green, and some dead grass. Dead grass is just the blonde hair, plain blonde hair. I'll give you some examples. For example, this is some dead grass, cut down really fine. I'll try to show the camera right here, really fine. And it's just the blonde hairs of the wig, nothing more than that. So I'll try to mix some dark and some lighter tones to achieve, for example, this. And then I'll have some longer greens, some shorter greens. This one you can see that has some dead grass in here, but if we mix it all up, can give great colors and great depth. What's up, my man? Welcome to the stream. So, static grasses, I have like a lighter mix, darker mix, then I have a longer mix, some dead grass for example, some light green with 1 centimeter, light green 10 millimeter dead grass, some 10 millimeter dark grass, some remains of 4 millimeter light grass right here, and right here we have really dark grass of 4 millimeters, I do think. But this is all wig hair, cut it down to size. Yes, it's not the best work that one might want to do on afternoon, but it will give great results and will be much cheaper than buying your own grasses on Woodland Scenics and all those distributors. At the same time, you might not get the same results because you're not using the same materials and you're trying to improvise with what you get. But it's always fun to be able to do your own shade, the green that you want exactly. Let me see what I do have more tile grout. So I have that big one, and I also have this one from tile grout. I do use some baking soda sometimes. It will create a great bond used with super glue. It will be like a rock. And for ground covers, it's really good too. And it will always need paint, but it will react with water and with acidic things. So it's something to look out for. And these are more of the small rocks that we have in this big tub that came with the tile grout. So the tile grout just gave me lots of ground cover. So now that I took everything okay, so we're back again. So as I was saying, some white pebbles, the same that we use for a fish tank, for example. And for last, a bag of rocks that I gathered some years ago that has a hole in it and it is always covering everything. That's why I don't touch it up too much. Let's try to save what fell down right here. Is everything good with the image and with the sound? Chat, can someone say something about it? Give me some feedback. Do I have to put the music lower? So, now it's all just a matter of putting everything back in place. So, it's the most fun part of this whole process. That is. So, small rocks and some tile grout right here. It's always a good opportunity for us to be able to have everything organized. Now, some sieve down sand, some tile grout right here, and some white pebbles on top of the other rocks. some more coarse sand, ground covers, small pebbles. I do like to organize it by side. In one part we'll have ground covers, in the other some flocks. Now we can put all this static grass back in its place. All the pigments. Now, you can start with static grasses. I'll try to put this on top so that we can save some more space. And now our flocks made out of sawdust. It seems like we do not have enough space again for all the flocks. But we always have enough. Also, something that I don't have as much as I wanted, some dead roots. So these dead roots make great roots in game and can be used in a variety of places. And then there are also lots of other materials that one can use. For example, some moss pit moss, some coconut fiber, for example. Will do great bushes and brushes. Some to make the trees, I also use some polyfiber, and polyfiber is basically the interior of a pillow. You can have a pillow and inside you have all this fluffiness, and this is the structure that you are going to flock to make bushes and to make the tree canopies, for example. You can see it right here on all these green mounts that are painted. To do clouds of smoke, for example, getting out of a house, it's also something that can be used for. To make explosions, to put on fire. It's great. So, let's check on our flock. I'll put this underneath. Okay, as you can see, it's much lighter when it's dry, and all the wet ones on the bottom is much darker. So let's mix it all up. This will not be dried today for me to sieve it all down. It will still take some time, just because my furnace is an electric one and a really small furnace. I only use this furnace for this kind of this kind of activities to make flock and to use on my art studios. As I said on my first stream, I am also a plastic artist. I also do paintings and sculptures and installations, so I use my furnace to do lots of different things. But as I said previously, and I'm going to repeat myself because this is really important, never put anything that has super glue inside the furnace, because the gases that are going to come out of the super glue are cyanide gas. So it's really not the thing that you would want to be breathing. It's dangerous and it can really do you some harm. Please make sure you do not put super glue inside the furnace. Some safety tip that I must alert you from. I didn't know that, but when I learned it, I memorized it because it's really important. So after this is all a bit turned down, it's starting to dry. It's not gluing as much to my hand as it was before. So back in the furnace. Let's fluff it up again. And it's okay to pick up again. Okay, so let me just pick up all the dust that got here. Drink some water, and we are almost in 3 hours again. I do like this sound. Oh, I see what just happened. So, when I put it, the hot part that came from the furnace on top of my mat, it just melted a little bit, and now the mat is not flush anymore. I want to buy a bigger mat, a bigger cutting mat, so that I have a big structure that doesn't have as much reflex as this white table has, but we'll see. Now I must remember I cannot put it on top of this. Damn, this sound is cool. So, let's check on our cliffs, and they are still not dried. To first pick on a place to put it drying afterwards. This is not a good place, for example. But this is. So afterwards we are going to put it here to dry. It still has some dust from the previous flock that we did here. Look at all this flock. This is the fine dust that we will try to collect later on. I could collect this, but I have enough of this color. So let's see, what do we need? So what do we need? We need a darker color, I do think. So we have a lighter green right here. We have a darker right here, and we think we need to do a darker, a really darker one. So let's put this aside. Get this and let's pick some colors. So I think I'm going to try to use the last of the pigment I have right there, and maybe use some of this and some more of that, and a little bit of black maybe. We'll see. So first, 2 or 3 hands of wood pellets. One. As I said before, these are wood pellets for animals, for rabbits, chinchillas, for example, guinea pigs. Okay, 2.5 ants. Now we need a little bit of water. This might be okay. And some color. So first, we need a little bit of green. Let's call it medium green. Now, I'll try to squeeze the end of this black acrylic paint that I have here. Just trying to squeeze everything out that we can. Give it a little bit of black if we can. I don't think we will be able to. Let's try and do this method. Will we be able to squirt out some tiny bits? Let's see, like this. Yes, just a tiny bit. Okay. That was probably enough. This is going away. Now this is also a green that we could use. So we'll have probably a bit more paint in it. That one might think. We just have to squeeze it all to the front. And I just broke the paintbrush. So let's see if we can squeeze all the last bits from it. And yes, we did. This is also going away. And now I think we have enough. We'll need a little bit more water. Bit more, and let's start mixing it all up, trying to get all these lumps from the pellets to just start to get uniform, start to be all enveloped in this acrylic paint, mixing it all up to try to not get yellow in the middle of this darker green. This green will be darker than the one that we previously did. So as before, try to use all the ink, all the color that will be on your hand on the first passes from the mixing phase. Let's go. Be able to use everything we have. This will all come back to my hand, but this way we can guarantee that my hand is not grabbing all the color and just half of it is on the sawdust. It has happened before, that's what I'm trying to say. So just mix, mix, mix. This one got a little bit more water than the previous batch that we did, but that's no problem at all because this one will have to dry for longer, and the other one is almost ready and we'll be able to put it right on there. Just before we put this one there. Mix, mix, mix. Try to destroy every little lump that we see here. And we can already see that the green is way darker than the previous one. Can try and add a little bit more paint if we want to. Let's see if we have some right here. This is also a darker green that can give us some more textures, some more different shades. It's more of an olive green. This way we can guarantee that will not be as darker as it is right now, but it will be darker than what we have right now in other flock terms. Take everything out of your hands. Let's just check how is the stream health. We are not having the best connection right now, but we are still on. Everything out of the hands. Okay, now we have a better connection, some good connection. Okay, it's definitely better than last time, now that we are streaming at 700p. Last time we were streaming a bit higher and our beep count was lower. Now we have a little bit more beep and less. So, now that the mixing part is done, I'll need to go and wash my hands and I'll be back in no time. So, we are back again. Let's first of all just put everything in its place, every paint back in the shelves. water also back in its place. And let's put this aside for a bit. And let's look at our flock once more. Broke down, so I'll just use this little piece. And now I'm not mixing this because I'm not going to put this flock back in the furnace, but look the difference in tones. This will be a bit lighter after it dries, but it has no comparison to this kind of tones. This middle part that is darker is still wet, and this is nothing to do with that. Just these two tones can create lots of good flock. So now let me see, this is okay. Let me transfer all of it to here. Use a brush to brush all of this out, already drying, and we need to capture all this fine dust that we are going to sieve afterwards. And this will be spread around so that it can finish drying up, and I'm going to be putting it aside for now. I don't quite know where, but let's see if I can find anywhere to put it. Okay, we were able to almost get it. So we are probably not going to finish. We are not, but we are not going to start painting the grays on the hills. They are still wet. And let me check on this. Okay, 3 hours of film in the other camera and 3 hours of light. So let's just okay, so let's just make the same process as the other batch. Just pour it all right here. This tool is better for this purpose. Much as we can out. Let's not forget that the majority of this is really big and will not be able to be sieved down to a fine dust, but a lot of it will. So let's just try to capture the big majority of it so that we can have a bigger yield of the fine dust that we are looking for in the end. it around a little bit. All this that fell, spread around, fluff it around, just as we did with the other. To move it around, try to spread it as much as we can so that more heat can hit it on the top, but do not press it down. Let some air circulate, or at least try to fluff it up, and it will dry in no time. So this will go back in the furnace. Unfortunately, we are not going to be able to finish what we wanted to do today because we already made a tree, we already made 2 types of flock, and we painted all the rocks. We put it some bricks in there, and I think we're going to stay here for today. Maybe next time we can try to start painting the next phases, the next painting phases of the Stackable Cliffs. We will finish the flock, and we'll probably continue looking at the dice tower. And let's just do another lucky roll, just to end the stream with a lucky roll. For those of you that are watching, this is a D20, as you know. Tell me up in chat, what do you think it's going to be in the roll? I'll wait a little bit and then I'll do the roll just to see. So let's see what the lucky number is. 2. Not the best one, but thank you to everyone that stayed here throughout the stream, and we'll be back maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday, so maybe Monday we'll be back with probably something more to do. So thank you very much to who stayed, and until the next one.